And now we come to the question and answers. So let's have a lovely debate. I open now the floor for the audience. I will ask you very much to start to introducing yourself when you put your questions, and limit to short questions in order to be able to listen to the answers from the panelists. Please, Anna.
Thank you very much for the floor. I'm Anna Magyar. I am a member of the Hungarian delegation of the Committee on the Brussels regions and the Deputy Chair of the committee. First of all, I'd like to thank the Madam Minister for organizing this conference and also her thoughts in the same way as the thoughts of the Commissioner. And I asked for the floor because I'm really affected by this topic. Just a few weeks ago, I managed to get an assignment as a rapporteur in the Committee of the Regions focusing on enlargement. I have fought for this position and I'm pleased I succeeded. And with that, I'm going to cause another problem to Jadranka Joksimovic. There will be yet another Hungarian who will be arguing for extension. What I'd like to say is that perhaps the work of the Committee of the Regions is not that well known. We are not in the focus of public interest. However, we can make a significant contribution when it comes to documents submitted to the Parliament and to the European Commission by focusing on regional aspects, regional points. And we also have the opportunity to formulate messages that perhaps were not given enough attention on other platforms. And I'd like to say a special thank you to the State Secretary for mentioning multi-layer democracy, which indeed works in our Commission. Please let me explain that in the Committee of the Regions, members who come from the Central and Eastern European region are the members who show most interest towards extension, and it's a significant challenge for us to convince members from the Western countries and to explain to them why it would be a win-win position if we manage to depart from this deadlock that we can see today. As for the Future of Europe conference, it was Mr. Rampuy who had an agenda item at the plenary session for the last time, where I wanted to draw his attention to the fact that the future of Europe is not only the future of the euro. We have more to talk about, like Western Balkans countries, and as a rapporteur, I'd like to actually add some thoughts to this report that will be adopted in late June or early July, points that also focus on the specificities of the region and specific messages from you in Serbia or other Western Balkans countries. So I'd like to make this cooperation more personal. Thank you. Thank you, Anna. And we wish you much success with your report and also with your work in the Committee of the Regions.
I will gather all the questions, if you allow me, and then I will ask the panelists to answer your questions again.
So a very warm welcome from me. I'm Agnes Chair, member of the European Economic and Social Committee. The only difference is that I have been involved since 2004, and I am very pleased to report that back then we started our work together with Anna Magyar. These two bodies, institutions, serve as advisory bodies to the European Commission and European Parliament, and they are organized on a party basis while we represent civil society. I'd like to thank the chair and the ministers for organizing this event series. They all represent very high quality standards, and we who participate from Brussels House and at the level of the member states in this series of events. Consider this event to be of outstanding quality, not only because we can welcome the Commissioner and representatives of the European Parliament, and a special welcome to the Madam Minister from Slovenia, but also because under our neighborhood policy, we have been actively participating in this accession process. Although the MP said this was a place for questions and answers, I just wanted to make a contribution because I'm co-rapporteur of the EU-China Roundtable, which focuses on cooperation in the post-COVID area, and we'll have a meeting with the Chinese party on the 14th of December. Minister Szijjártó talked about other economic factors prevailing in the region, highlighting the role of China in the investment policy. He quoted some very interesting figures about how we could actually make up for what we lost through Brexit through the Western Balkan states. And I asked for the opportunity to say something because the minister quoted two very important figures. The first being the spending on social spendings compared to the rest of the world. And I'd like to emphasize that the future and competitiveness on Europe, in my view, does not depend on how the European Union will reduce social spending, as since after the Second World War, this is the basis of European social policy, but it's more a question of how they can add factors of democratic thinking like justice, rule of law, and how they can reflect that in their investment policy. So my question is to the Commissioner responsible for extension, how through their activities they can promote the European Union's competitiveness and investment policies so that investments are not completed through a reduction in social spendings, and how can the European Union reach a leading role if it talks about basic rights and democracy, as it was done by the Madam Minister as well, and what kind of internal efforts will be made to make sure that in bilateral commercial agreements and in foreign policy we indeed enforce democratic rights, not only at home in the European Union, and how we can make ourselves stronger to ensure that competitiveness doesn't push us towards poverty and misery, and to make sure we don't grow gaps instead of reducing gaps. Thank you. Thank you very much, Agnes, and we wish you much success in your work as a rapporteur. And the next question.
Yes, I see a gentleman behind. Unfortunately, I can't see good the faces, so I'm sorry if I don't.
Well, it's beautiful face, don't worry. Well, I'm Marian Boyajev. I will speak in the second panel, but I believe that some of the officials will not be here, so a quick question. EMP from Vojvodina mentioned the EEA, and my speech is actually that Western Balkans should be introduced in the EEA as the first steps toward the EU. In the meantime, we have a fantastic initiative which is called Mini Schengen, now the Open Balkan, which is countries without borders, free movements of goods. Currently, only 3 of the Western Balkans are there. This is Serbia, Macedonia, and North Albania. But we don't see any support from European Union. At least our perception is that EU Commission does not support the Open Balkan initiative. Europe started as Europe of regions. Europe started as European Commission for Iron and Coal and Pentagonal and Visegrad 4. So the question is why European Union does not support the Open Balkan as a first step towards the integration of these countries. Thank you very much.
May I ask you to introduce yourself?
Yes. Marian Boyadžiev, University American College, Skopje, Republic of North Macedonia. I'm speaking at the second panel, but I believe that most of the officials will not be here, so I abused my powers now to ask these questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and wish you success for the next panel in the afternoon. Next question, yes, we have a gentleman in the second row.
Good morning. My name is István Komorowski. I'm coming from Hungary, and I'm a member, as Mrs. Chair mentioned here before, the European Economic and Social Committee. I have two questions, one to Oliver Varhelyi, whom I know from his previous position, and then to Mrs. Varga. The first, Commissioner, you referred to the introductory program of the von der Leyen Commission, saying that Western Balkan enlargement is one of the key priorities of the Commission. Now we are in December 2021. We are facing the French presidency. Commissioner Varhelyi, you are best to learn what is right on the situation in your Commission and from the perspective of French presidency. This presidency had a meeting with us 2 weeks ago in Paris. There, the Balkan enlargement was not among the priorities, but maybe you will learn better. And the second question goes to Mrs. Varga. We did a framework of Visegrad 4 countries. Just a month ago, together with these two ladies from ESC, we had a meeting next to Gdańsk in Sopot, meeting Polish students and discussing with them the conference on the future of Europe-related issues. And believe me or not, these Polish students were very much in favor, without asking them, of the enlargement issue, saying that not from the perspective of geopolitical, but from the perspective of Europe is very important. And hence my second question, and what is the situation between the governments of Visegrad 4? In other words, governments of Poland, Hungary, Czech, and Slovak Republic, what is their point when it comes to the Western Balkan enlargement? Are they in the support, or is it only Hungary from the point of view of being a neighbor to Serbia and other Balkan countries? What is the view there? Thank you very much.
Thank you, köszönjük, Komorowski úr. Van-e
Thank you,
egyéb
Mr.
kérdés?
Komorowski. Are there any more questions? If there are no more questions, then I'd like to pass the floor to the presenters, the panelists.
To the panelists. And I will go, if you allow, from that way. So first, if you want to add anything, Mr. Deli, and then come towards the middle of the table. So, Andor, please.
But yeah, I will be very short, actually referring to the distinguished professor's intervention. I think that there are some ways, and as I said in my speech also, I believe that in this phasing in approach, and that we need to use every opportunity to make some progress. And indeed, that is, I find your idea sympathetic personally, but of course, I'm not in that position to elaborate or to decide on these things. And I know Magyar Anna very much, very good, and I think that it is very important to make a stronger link between the Parliament and the consultative bodies such as the Committee of Regions. So, I would really encourage you to have some meetings despite of the COVID and the pandemic to exchange what we can do in the Parliament and what you can do, and that's the same for the ECOSOC as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. State Secretary, please. Mr. Dovzhan.
Thank you very much. Very shortly on, I think Committee of Region has an important role to play. We had extremely good cooperation also since the beginning of our presidency on multiple issues, including on enlargement and of course rural development. And I think also for the future, what we are seeing is that it's a challenge of our development to see regions more I mean, in bigger terms. And this is why we have, and the Commission has also developed this macro-regional approach to strategies. And as Slovenia, we are quite active in all those macro-regional strategies. And we will be more than happy if there's another one for the Mediterranean basin. So I think this is very important policy approach to see the whole regions and when it comes to tackling issues like transportation or climate change or developmental issues. I think this is very important. When it comes to the question of priorities, I think there was a question. Of course, member states, when they prepare the presidency, they make their own analysis. So and for us, I've been very clear how we made this analysis and how we end up with the conclusion how important enlargement is. And unfortunately, this is not, I would say, an assessment fully shared by all member states, but not, I would say, there are various reasons for this, but obviously internal political debate, of course, is challenging, and this is why the adamant supporters and staunch supporters of enlargement have to really use our time and to do as much as we can in order to make the process further. So I think this is all what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. State Secretary. Mrs. Jadranka Joksimovic, Minister, please.
Thank you. I would just make two comments on very important questions and ideas that have been raised here. First of all, on Committee of Regions, as also my colleague Dovzhan mentioned, I think it's so, first of all, congratulations for your nomination and thank you for make additional problems for Serbia. But however, I really think that it is so important to cooperate at the level of Committee of Regions, because one important cluster that we are now negotiating is, and that we will prepare in future, it's Cluster 5, which is a cluster gathering together common politics of cohesion policy, resources and agricultural policy. And this is something which we never underestimate in our accession process. On the contrary, for example, I am also National IPA coordinator, meaning that we are programming pre-accession funds available for the accession countries and also other bilateral and multilateral development assistance. And I really think that with Hungary, for example, we have excellent cooperation in the field, on the ground, with the cross-border cooperation that a lot of local municipalities in Hungary and near, let's say, border in this area and also in Serbia have done a lot. I would just mention one excellent example that our President Vučić and Prime Minister Orban visited 2 years ago. It was a synagogue in Subotica that we, as a cultural heritage, European cultural heritage, that we have reconstructed, and with Prime Minister Orban and President Vučić, it was very visible for the first of all European Union funds, but of course it's something that will contribute to people and the cultural heritage as an important issue. But nevertheless, there are a lot of other really tangible projects for our people in the cross-border region. For example, local infrastructure, local schools, also medical centers, etc., that we have jointly invested with the grants from European Union and of course from the local budget and our budgets. And I think this is so important because it raises, I would say, and supports people-to-people diplomacy and region-to-region diplomacy, which will be one of the very important aspects of our future membership, just as Hungary did well, I think, with the regional approach and using cohesion funds after your accession to European Union. So we don't don't see that EU is some kind of ATM or bank machine, that's for sure, but we should use everything that is available for us in this process and try to decrease this disproportion between the regions when it comes to the economic wealth and when it comes to the figures, economical figures in the regions, in order to reach convergence and to really improve the people's lives. So thank you very much, and we will really in future, I think, especially raise the importance of the Committee of the Regions and participation of our regions, especially the province of Vojvodina, but also all others in the Serbia. And we have, I think, some representations and some representatives in the Committee of Region. I hope that you will help us as well in that area. On the other hand, I think that it's the question of open Balkan that has been raised is very important one. Originally, as you said, it was mentioned and titled as a mini Schengen initiative. It was not very pleasant title for some sensitive years. So it has been changed to the Open Balkan initiative. And you have noticed some kind of, let's say, reluctance from some maybe member states in European Union about the Open Balkan. I think it's not really some kind of reluctance. It was like, you know, this initiative came, the generic idea was from the region. So it was not mediated and facilitated by the EU or some member states. It was initiative came out of free, I would say, leaders of the region. It was from Prime Minister Rama from Albania, Prime Minister Zaev, and President Vučić from Serbia, and they agreed to make additional platform, not in order to neglect other regional initiatives. On the contrary, to support them by the additional platform of improving political trust. That's the main point, because we have excellent Berlin Process Initiative, to be very frank. It brought a lot of benefits to the region. It has been initiated in 2014 by mostly by the Germany and the Chancellor Merkel, and after that it was conducted by different partners on annually basis. It was Austria, France, Italy, also North Macedonia as well, first time from the region, and it brought a lot of really good talks and good projects for the region. The idea of Open Balkan, it was not to overlap or to neglect the initiatives. It was the matter of if there is a space, and we found a space for more political trust among some partners. And I think it's not any kind of opposition to other initiatives. I think that it's always good to have a lot of initiatives, because it's also added channel platform or open channel platform for different talks, for different aspects, because there are a lot of outstanding issues in the region, you know, when it comes to the political issues, when it comes to economical cooperation and some other things, infrastructural, of course, ideas for projects, etc., etc. So I always think it's always good to have different links for communication. It will help. If you talk with someone, it will always help. And I really think that no one should be, you know, reluctant about the idea. It's open for everyone. And by the way, my idea was, if we say Open Balkan, that means, but that was only my idea, to be very frank, to call all Balkan countries, because Balkan is not only a Western Balkan. Balkan is also Bulgaria, Romania, Greece. Those are the biggest Balkan countries already being part of European Union. But the core of the idea is for the Western Balkan, to be honest. But I think it's very good to say Open Balkan, which means that the cooperation is open for everyone. However, I just want to underline that there's nothing to be worried about. It's only a good and I would say good and prosperous initiative for the people of all countries that will join to Open Balkan. But nevertheless, we are delivering on the ideas and goals of the Berlin process and Brdo-Brioni process, as well as also one of the good initiatives, regional initiatives. There's no need to make any artificial competition between initiatives. It's all those initiatives needs to meet the most important goal, the better political, I would say, links and better living standard for our people. That's the goal. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jadranka. Thank you. Miniszter asszony, kedves Judit.
Thank you very much, Inga. And since I was addressed by a question, I would just take the opportunity to say thanks again for all our distinguished speakers. Thank you very much for coming here. And since this is the fourth high-level conference in the framework of the Future of Europe conferencing, I'm sure that this conference seems to be the most successful so far, and we are just in the middle of it. So thank you very much for your physical presence. All of our speakers could contribute to this debate with a special color, with a special angle of perspectives, and I'm grateful for Jadranka for the honesty, which is really energizing for us and helps the open discussion. Thank you very much for Gaspar for giving fresh ideas and also flashing some lights on the work of the presidency, what they have done for the enlargement case. And thank you very much as well, Commissioner, to list all those activities and future plans, what are very, very promising for our case at a European Commission commitment level. And thank you, Andor, for being out of the box as a free parliamentarian here in the room. So, and I would like to also say congratulations to our members in the ECOSOC and in the Committee of the Regions. Thank you very much for being active and also representing not only Hungarian but regional and also horizontal interest in your work in Brussels. When it comes to the question, Mr. Komorowski, I'm happy to see you here. Actually, we have been working together in the past when I was assistant in the European Parliament, so I'm happy to greet you in this conference as well. If you asked Hungarian students, I'm pretty sure that the same answer, the same enthusiasm would be about Western Balkan enlargement and making Europe larger, not necessarily deeper. So what we always say, we need a smarter Europe, which sees more integration where there is an added value, and we see a larger Europe with new and fresh member states contributing not only to our economic success but also to our security challenges. So we are also holding regular meetings with student circles from Hungarian universities. They are not this large scale, but they are very valuable, and we have also face-to-face dialogues, discussions with students or fishermen, and they all see the point and the whole enlargement. They see that this is the key for the future of the continent. The V4 is fully committed. We speak one voice when it comes to enlargement. Hungary is now holding the presidency until next June. We always start with the council formation meetings with a separate V4 meeting. And whenever there is a chance to include in the texts which are circulated in the council, when there is a possibility to enhance the importance of enlargement, V4 is always contributing to these issues. And as I also said in my introduction, there is this international Visegrad Fund where these countries are also giving concrete contributions to the members of the West Balkan region, where from capacity building through the education, innovation, and also reinforcing the undertaking sector, we are actively there. Not to mention when it comes to border protection. So thank you very much for the question, and for the audience, I'm really grateful that you are here physically with us and take part in the vivid discussions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you, Judit. Commissioner, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I would combine one comment on the question that I received. First to Mádl, course, the Committee of the Region is a unique institution in the European architecture. And where it could help us is to explain to our Western Balkan partners how regional cooperation can not only speed up the economic recovery and social recovery, but also how local initiatives can contribute at a much larger extent to the economy and the social cohesion of the entire region. Meaning cooperation between different regions and different partners within the Western Balkans, but also between EU membership regions, member states regions with Western Balkan regions. There, I think we have quite a bit to do, and there we will also need the regions to come out much stronger to explain what their needs are, what basic bottlenecks in front of the four freedoms could be in these regions. And I'm turning to some of the answers that I have for this question. I mentioned in my speech the Common Regional Market Initiative. The Common Regional Market Initiative was based basically on the mini Schengen idea, which is the first large-scale initiative emerging from the region itself, bringing the four freedoms into reality. So freedom of goods, people, services, capital, establishment. And this initiative is key to the success of the region itself. It is not only key for EU enlargement and integration to happen in the Western Balkans, but also it is key for the region itself because it is a low-hanging fruit in front of the integration of the entire region. So the Commission is supporting any of these ideas. Our only request to the region was to keep it open and try to combine with all the reforms that are done in relation to the European perspective of the region. This is why we have been promoting this idea as the common regional market. The common regional market to be part of the Berlin process, which is under the EU flag, which means that we can then combine the positive effects of the economic and investment plan with the common regional market. That was the original idea. However, unfortunately, after everybody has agreed in the Western Balkans, we have seen one partner leading this cooperation. And this is where the Open Balkan initiative submerged, resubmerged discussions, making it clear that the rest of the region would still want to influence. So the Commission is supporting this idea. The Commission is supporting bringing forward the implementation of the four freedoms in the Western Balkan regions. But we want this to be done in accordance with the EU norms. So we don't want to do reforms twice, and then we will bring delivery of EU reforms faster. Of course, the ideal solution is to have everyone. And it's not a question of name, but a question of substance. And this is why I do hope that that the partner who has left the common regional market will reconsider its choice and will come back to the common regional market. So in that sense, it's not a question of labels that we should be looking at, but the substance of the cooperation. On the question to Mrs. Chair, how do we help to create an investors climate which is not on the expense of the social convergence? The answer is to be found in the Economic and Investment Plan. The Economic and Investment Plan one hand, tries to tackle the big bottlenecks in front of the economic development of these regions. We're missing highway connections, railway connections to the capitals, which is a prerequisite of any investment climate. We have energy scarcity in the region, which is a limit to any investments. We have a strong reliance on coal, which is a health hazard, on the other hand, where we would like to contribute to phase that out quickly and also extend the available energy sources in the region. So this is for the economy. But if you look at the social part of the investment plan, you will see that we not only promote social convergence as such, so to try to bring development to regions that are least developed, not only in relation to Europe, but also within the region. We would like to mobilize also the part of the society that is inactive. To give you an example, we have been addressing the issue of the Roma minority. It's a huge minority in the Western Balkans. I don't want to offend anybody, but largely forgotten. Largely forgotten in the sense that they are not active in the economy, they don't have an economic perspective, and therefore they don't have a social perspective either. And we would like to mobilize the Roma community through education, through providing job opportunities, to remobilize this part of society which is becoming completely inactive. This is one of the social elements. We are also investing very heavily in the healthcare sector to bring the healthcare, basic, mid-level, and also high-level healthcare services to a level comparable to ours. We are investing also in the social part of the society, because it is only through that first of all, we will have long-term possibility for growth and jobs, and then we will be able to start to convince the large population, 4 million people out of 18, who has left the Western Balkans to have their living elsewhere. It will take time. It's not something that we will deliver from one day to the next. This is going to be a mid-term, long-term target, 10, 15, 20 years from now, when we hope to see that people will gradually move back because they have an economic and social perspective. And finally, Mr. Komorowski, what to expect from the French presidency? You know, presidencies are normally delivering on the EU agenda, whatever the EU agenda is actually dealing with. So I do hope that during the French presidency, we will continue to deliver on all the decisions that we can make and we should make. You should expect landslide decisions being made, but every single decision counts. Opening clusters in Serbia next week, we hope to take that decision. Political IGC with Montenegro, we will take that step. Having the first IGC with North Macedonia and Albania, maybe it's more difficult, but I do hope that we will make that step. Enlargement is made of each and every step of the way and at the right time. If we miss that, then the occasion might not come back. Therefore, I'm very hopeful that the French presidency, being a founding member, has all the knowledge and capacity to know when and how the decisions can be and will be made.
If I may add something, it's really important because I have forgotten the fact this is Commissioner Varga, and I remember the question is, how can you contribute? I just want to give you an example of two excellent core-level projects, infrastructural ones, supported by the EU throughout the Economic Investment Plan and the Local Investment Framework, which is in multi-country impact, pre-accession funds. First, very important project is a high-speed railway between Belgrade and Belgrade niche, which means the southern part of Serbia. And in addition, when we build our Belgrade Budapest, high-speed railroad track, that will actually connect also you from Budapest with the southern part of Serbia, which is I would say, the fastest way to reach, Greece and go to the eastern part of this corridor. So I really think this is an extremely important project. It will be financed with a huge grant from the European Union, but also capital loans from the European Investment Bank and the EIB as well. And the second one, just a couple of days ago, we started the official works on the second very important project. Our President Judit was there and Ambassador from the EU. It's a Belgrade-Pristina highway. We call that highway East Highway, which will definitely bring additional value, of course, in the structural one, connecting people, and of course, the importance for the economical, I would say, development of the region. But I think it will bring additional value of this mutual, I would say, raising the mutual trust, and that's why it will contribute to the peace and stability of the region. It will be also financed by the EU with a huge amount of grant. For the first section, it's 40 million euros per grant, and about 180 million euros of capital loans from European Investment Bank and European Bank for the Reconstruction and Development. So definitely those two projects shows how European Union can really tangibly contribute to the development of the region, connecting people, connecting Europe, because all those highways and railroads are part of the core European transport network. It's also important for European Union, but also for the region. That's the concrete example how the European Union can contribute to this.
Thank you, Judit. Well, my final role is here to thank all the speakers for their valuable input, for the audience for your interest and participation here in this important event, and after all to thank for Mr. Varga, Judit, for organizing this event, for the Ministry of Justice, for the Mádl Institute. I think it was very timely and important to organize this event right now. And let me conclude in Hungarian, just a few words, as at the beginning I was very constrained about the time, which we are now passing over our time limit with the several minutes, but just very short remarks in Hungarian before I invite you to a reception outside.
Well, our thinking about the future of Europe must focus on the matter of extension. This is what we discussed this morning. The Western Balkans region is an integral part of Europe, and the country is surrounded by EU member states from all sides, so the prosperity and stability of the EU in the future is in the interest, geopolitical interests of the European Union. And that's why we need to give the region an accession perspective, and each step matters in this process, as we heard from Commissioner Varga, because otherwise the European Union will bring its own credibility into question. We will think about the future of Europe in this conference, but even after the conference we need to organically involve countries in the West Balkans region, and I think in this planning process, in this way of thinking, today's conference also made a significant contribution. So thank you very much for your participation. We will continue the conference. This was the morning panel, so we look forward to welcoming you back to the afternoon panel, which is titled Historical Legal Arguments for Extension, and then I'd like to invite you to a small standing reception. Thank you.